Hey folks, Javan Bernakevitch here with All Points Design. That's allpointsdesign.ca. And today we're taking a look at the Oregon State University Permaculture template. This will be used in a number of different permaculture courses, and if you're looking at this, chances are you're in the course. We're going to be taking a look at the design site, specifically the third slide in the design site assessment, really going from the macro to the micro. So where are you in the world, and then how do we zoom down? Now, if you take a look at the example on the right-hand side, we've started with this amazing graphic of the world and then North America, and then getting into North America, you'll see that this student has highlighted the lakes, so that way when you move closer, which is this next image, it's very clear where you are. And that's the most important thing to remember, is that when you're going from image to image, you want to have a reference. So within North America, we can see within the world, we can see North America. In North America, we can see this province of Ontario, and we can see the lakes. And instead of going down to the provincial level, they've just brought us all the way down to the lakes because it's very clear. And in this one, they've put in a really brilliant addition. They've put in the Oak Ridges Moraine, which is a very specific ecological feature that's very important for this area around Lake Ontario. And then they've given us one more slide, just to be very clear, one more image of where they are in that place. So in your situation, chances are you're not going to have access to this type of graphics or the ability to build them. So we're going to do the next best thing. We're going to go over to Google Earth Pro, which is free to download. And I recommend everybody take a look at it because it's an incredible program if you ever work in international work or even local work, just looking at and seeing the similarities around the world. It's quite amazing. And then what we want to do is we want to go to the place where you are. So I've already done this, but we'll do it together. So this will bring me down all the way to our site in Calgary. And perfect, great. So our site is on the south side of this duplex. And actually the way this lot works is that the garage is completely within this side of, half the garage, pardon me, is inside this lot boundary. So there's a couple of pieces we can work with here. So first and foremost, we want to put in what's called a place marker. So there's two ways to do this. You can either right click on your folder, and I like to make a folder that's labeled from the country, the province, the city, and sometimes for urban sites, I'll put urban there so I know specifically what it is. You'll see with the other ones in Canada and the USA, sometimes I won't do that. And I'm just noticing now that sometimes I put Canadian or Canada. So there you go. None of us have all the things ready all the time. So once you create this folder, and the way to do that is you right click on current, add folder, and it'll add a new folder, and then you can type in as we talked about. So you can put CAD, CAN, B or AB, Calgary, herb, and then Bernakevitch. And I do underscores because it's a carryover of folder systems. You don't have to do that, but it's nice to give you space. So that'll create it. And we've already done that, so I'm going to delete this one because I don't want an extra one mucking me up as I go along. So I've already got this. And then what I'll do is I want to do right click, add place mark, or while I'm highlighted on this folder, I'll click this icon here, add, and it'll give me a place mark. And I'll just say this is Bernakevitch Urban Oasis. Now, the yellow thumbtack is not the best icon. And so what we'll do is we'll go to that. I'll just cancel that and do it again. We'll go to this iconography here. And I'm a big fan of using this one, the red one. And we can also increase the scale of it. We can make it bigger. And I think for this assignment, that'll be useful when we zoom out. So I'm going to put it to 3.0. We can change the color. I'm quite happy with the red color, and I'm going to press OK. OK again, and now I've got this marker. And I'm just going to move it up. And you'll see that as you move it up, you'll see a little gray line that moves, and it shows you where it is going to place. Great. Now, I don't need to have this marker on, so I'm going to turn that off. And as well, I'm going to turn off the weather station. And the only other thing I may want to do here is I may want to do a polygon just outlining the actual site itself. It's a good thing to do. So I'm going to get in close enough so I can see the whole thing. And I'm just gonna take a look at the timeline function up here. I'm gonna go back and forth and see if there's a better image. Now, obviously that first image we had was a composite, and they're normally the best. So I'm gonna look back a bit and see if there's a better one. And if there isn't, that's totally fine. It's just nice to take a moment and look through. You can learn an incredible amount of a site if you do this. Yeah, no, this is the best one. So I'm gonna go with this. And then what I'm gonna do is, again, click on the folder, and two options: right click, add polygon, or I can just click the Polygon tool. Now, the Polygon tool is not a click and a hold, because what'll happen is you'll end up with a number of points. You see how I had all those points that came up? Don't necessarily want that. I want to click and put a point in. So what I'm doing is just hitting the delete key to get rid of those. I'm going to delete that first one. And I know this property from looking at real-time property reports, and you'll have to look at that yourself or have your clients or your potential clients in this work tell you where their work is. But I know this property cuts right down the middle of this duplex, and then on this side goes about halfway and comes down, out, and around. So anything that's a straight line is easy. We're just gonna click once, and then I can click again all the way here, and I'll get a straight line. Then I'll go halfway here, then here, then here. And you'll notice the way I'm doing this, I'm doing it in such a way so that way I'm not covering over. And I can go back, and when you hover, you highlight, and you can create some more specificity. So I'm gonna click back on this one, go to the road, and the road is basically straight until there. And then on the curve, I'm just gonna do simple clicks, just a click or two, just to get everything together. Great. Now I wanna see my site. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into Style and Color. I want the line to be red, almost always. Okay. And I don't want it filled in outline, I just want it outlined. Great. Now it's a little thin for my liking, so I'm going to up it to maybe 2 or 3. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, 3 looks pretty good. Opacity is good. One of the drawbacks of Google Earth Pro is that there's no way to change the line weights, so it's only solid lines or nothing. So that's all you get there. And I'm just gonna tweak this a little bit before I go out, and I'm gonna title this Property Boundary, and then click OK. And you'll notice that the property boundary is populated here, and I'm gonna put it up to the top because I like my marker and my property boundary to be right there. Then I'm gonna zoom out. If you have a scrolling wheel or some kind of touch surface, you can scroll back and come out, or you can go over here and you can pull out with this marker. And the more you pull, the more you come out. But because I have that scrolling function, I'm gonna zoom way out. And then we're gonna see how good of an idea that big old marker was, and it looked like it was actually a pretty good idea. So I'm gonna pull out a little bit more. I kind of want the full earth. Great. Now we're gonna go back to our screen capture software. So I'm gonna screen capture the whole earth, and I'm gonna obscure the date and the latitude. I'm gonna take that first one. So now I've got all of North America, not necessarily the world because it's a globe. And I'm gonna zoom in, and we're gonna go to the province. So I'm going to then take another screen capture. And I might take that's okay. And then I'm gonna come down to Calgary, and I may take one in Calgary itself. And then I'm gonna zoom all the way down to, and I'm just putting my cursor where I want to zoom down into, and then scrolling my wheel in. And then this is a nice simple process here. And then I'm going to take my next. And unfortunately, it's capturing a bit of my zoom tool that I'm using to do this. So I'm just going to do this one more time. And I may even go a little bit bigger and grab that Hunter Valley Road there. It's a nice reference point. Great. So I've got all of those images. So now I'm going to go back to our site. So we're going to do a location of the world. Now, because I'm probably going to be a little bit bigger than all of this, I'm just going to copy and paste the slide. And the way I did that was click on the slide, make sure it's highlighted like this. And you'll notice when it's highlighted in orange, you have the slide selected. And if it's not, then if you click on here, you'll see that it's gone gray. So if that's clicked on and I've copied and pasted, I've got a backup. So in case I muck up what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to actually delete all of these because I just want to play with what I have. I'm going to go down to my screen captures, and I can usually bring them all in at the same time. I don't want that second one. So we'll get rid of that one, and then we'll bring these in. Great. Little big, but that's okay. I'll zoom out. So I'll go into my view, zoom out, and then go back at my clicking tool. Okay, great. So now I've got quite a number of maps that I can use. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm already noticing that it's kind of a big jump to go from here to just the province. So I'm going to go back to Google. I'm going to zoom back out, and I think I'm going to take a screenshot of where I can see Canada and maybe a bit of America, but I still get some of those divisional lines. That feels like an important one to have there. So I'm going to take that click. Here we go. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to pull that in. Okay, now we're talking. So I'm going to use the space wisely. And usually what I'll do is I'll justify it first and then pull it in to have the right amount of space. And I like where this is going. I like where this is going. I like this. And I'm going to line this up here. And I'm going to bring this back in. That's a little bit small. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more space here. I would like to put everything in one line because I'd like to put that bottom one in. And if it doesn't work, I may need to change things, but we'll start there. Then I'm going to bring in my site. Cool. Great. So I like all of this. This works. These are a little bit bigger, so I might make these a bit bigger and then put these to the side or something. Or I might play around and put this down here and then put this up here. We're just going to play around and see how best to do this so that way it makes good sense. Because again, it's always going to be a bit different. Your site's always going to be a little bit more different than everybody else's. Now, because I already have my outline and my icon, I don't need these outlines or icons, so I'm going to delete those. And similarly, I'm going to delete this one, and that can go, and that can go. It's very satisfying deleting things in this program. Then we're going to zoom in, so I can go back on the selection tool. Basically, everything was kept in north, so that's fine. I might put this off to the side. I might put this off to the side, and that'll give me some space to put my compass rose. Again, you can change your compass rose. This is the one that we've selected for as a default, but totally up to you to change it. And then I can put in the address and the coordinations. So again, we're going to take it off transparent and put in Hunter Valley Road, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And if I wanted to, I could also put in the coordinates. So I could do that by going back into, for some reason, this justification isn't working. So I'm just going to go up here, justify left, perfect. And so I could go back to Google Earth, and then I could grab the coordinates if I wanted off of my, off of this. All I have to do, if I ever want to go back and grab my coordinates from that, is I'll stop this, click on this 2 ways, right click, get info. And there's my Latin long. So I can just take that, copy, and I can make this a little bigger and put my lat and then put my long. And normally I would put Latin long in front of that, lat, and then long. And because it's off the screen, I'm going to move that up. I'm going to move this up as well, and probably pull this in a bit. There's still a little bit of more work to be done here in terms of moving these things around and making sure that they all fit really nicely and they line up really nicely. But generally, that gives me a sense of the design site. Thanks, folks. Looking forward to seeing the next one.